I want to make a video about this dude Vontoocut, right? All this stuff going on the internet, talk about him and like if he not spiritual no more, right? Because the reason why I want to make this video is because people putting stuff on him that we acting like these other spiritual YouTubers ain't done the same type of shit. Let me tell you something about these spiritual YouTubers conscious community, right? Let me tell you something I realized about these creators, right? These are majority, and this is like a message for melanated people. These are majority melanated, right? Black, Negro, whatever you want to call them, YouTubers. And they talking about how the white people is the devil, and they got all these messages. It's not for non-melanated people and all this stuff, right? What I'm trying to understand is when it comes to the form of spirituality that a lot of these dudes practice. Because you looking at Vontoocut, you saying he falling out of the spiritual shit. He's saying that shit doesn't matter anymore. Do you know why maybe that's happening to him and a lot of other people and why they fall out? Whose idea was it for us melanated people that we supposed to go vegan? Why are y'all saying words like Kundalini and chakra and prana and all of this different shit? Where does the chakra system come from? The chakra system comes from India, right? And the thing is, when you're dealing with a place like India, and this goes into all the New Age, Theosophy, spiritual shit, right? This, as we know, there's different spiritual systems. You got Buddhism, you got Voodoo, Hoodoo, Santeria, the indigenous people of the Americas. You got the West African spiritual system, Central African, East African. You got Islam, Sufism. You got so many different spirituality systems, right? When it comes to YouTubers like Young Pharaoh, Spiritual Soul, and Vontoocut, where are these ideas that these new age niggas is getting their shit from? It's coming from a place like India. When you hear the word chakra, you start thinking about Indian people, right? Indian, Pakistani people. Now, can you explain to me why, right? In a place like India, where there's different ethnic groups, mind you, India is one of the places where the white people come from. White people in Neanderthal DNA comes from Central Asia. Tajikistan and Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, India, all those places, right? When you look at India, where you have melanated people, right? You have talk about the Nagas and all this stuff in ancient history dealing with those civilizations. You have white people, you have Persian people, you have the Chinese and the Asian people, right? Dealing with Buddhism, right? Who said that prana, chakra, Kundalini, right? All of these practices that the spiritual niggas is teaching y'all melanated people, us African American, Afro Caribbean, Dominican, whatever you are, right? Even if you are African, right? If you live in Africa, you live in West Africa, South Africa. We listening to these fools and they giving us a spiritual system that does not even come from our ancestors. A spiritual system that doesn't even come from melanated people. It doesn't come from the melanated people in India. Right? Not only just with India, right, with these different spiritual systems and ethnicities, this whole Egypt shit. So us people in the Americas, us melanated people, we all supposed to be African, right? Can you explain to me how that us being African ties back into Egypt? You always hear these niggas talk about Egypt, Egypt, Egypt. We need to be like the ancestors in Egypt. They talk about sun gazing. They talk about staring at the sun. They talk about sun worship. Where the fuck does sun worship come from? Do people in West Africa worship the sun? Do people in Central Africa worship the sun? Do people in South Africa? Do people in East Africa worship the sun? These people don't worship the sun. Sun worship comes from Greco-Roman people. When you're dealing with Akhenaten and Atenism and all this stuff that's in Egypt, right? First of all, Egypt is a Greek word. Egypt comes from the Greek word Egyptos. The word Kemet is a Coptic word. Coptic is a language that was spoken by Greek people who went into the Egyptian region after the original people from that region went lower to the Nile because the Nile River in that region, it was drying up. The people from ancient Egypt, right, ancient Kemet, which is European people referring to the people in the land as so, Nubians, Nubian, which is a Coptic word which means people from the Nile, like I told you, Coptic is dealing with Greek people. When you look at the Nile River, there are multiple different ethnicities, multiple different tribes and peoples. They don't all speak the same language. They don't all have the same spiritual systems. One thing is for sure though, is them people do not worship the sun. Those people are not vegan. All of these things that they're telling us that we from Egypt, we from Kemet, all of this stuff is not African. What you got to understand is there's no coincidence that the ancient Egyptian civilization is right up on Greece. Right on the exit / entrance to Africa. There's no coincidence that it's right next to the Middle East. When you look at the original pharaohs from that place, from 5000 BC all the way to 1200 BC, yes, you see people using hieroglyphics. You see things, you see the people are darker. You see that the culture is one way. But when you got it, what you got to understand is when it comes to sun worship and Ra and Hotep and all of these different languages and other things that came into play later when those original African people left that region. These things come from Greeks, these things come from Romans, and these things come from Arabs and Middle Eastern people. I don't think I need to tell y'all that got to do with white people and shit like that. So at the end of the day, when you look at New Age and Theosophy and all this Eastern European, light-skinned, green-eyed, brown hair, Indian people, Kundalini ass shit, when you look at Hinduism and you look at Kartikeya, you look at Brahma, and you see all these light-skinned, white-looking figures, all this vocabulary that they trying to put on us African-American, African, and Afro-Caribbean people, these black melanated spiritual YouTubers, all of this shit is white people shit at the end of the day. The question is, why the fuck would you complain about what white people did to us and then go back 4,000 years into the past for us to wake up? Did you forget that there was a point in time before the Atlantic slave trade? Why would you have to go back 4,000 years back? Was we not good 500 years ago? Was we not good in the 1300s, in the 1200s? First of all, yeah, there was people that was brought over here that was African who was melanated people. But what about the indigenous people? Not all the Native American people looked the same. A lot of us is indigenous people. Why would we, as melanated people, have to go back 4,000 / 6,000 years ago to find a spirituality system from an ancient civilization that never existed and has nothing to do with melanated people? Why are we using vocabulary and terms that have to do with modern day spirituality? Now, when it comes to Vontoocut, and people like Young Pharaoh and all of these people that started off spiritual, just like Vontoocut said, right? Young Pharaoh started off spiritual, he started off good, he started off right. And then somewhere along the lines, the same thing that we seeing happen to Vontoocut, it happened to Young Pharaoh. Where Young Pharaoh started to feel like nothing mattered and that was not going to get our people further. Then the nigga started doing things that I'm not going to get into right now in the video, but Vontoocut had addressed this, right? Now with Vontoocut, right? Let me tell you what was the first problem I noticed with Vontoocut that I noticed with all of these motherfuckers, even Daylight and all of these spiritual YouTubers. How these niggas feel, not just about religion. I don't like religion. I think that a lot of the Christians, right? And the way that they go about thinking is not correct. We talking about organized religion. But the thing that I will not have, and that I notice in all these people, is the bashing of the book, the Bible, right? These niggas seem to, and it's to the point to where it's, dude, when you look at the way Vontoocut, it looks like somebody literally drained the soul out of him. It looks like his vibration is lowers all the way down as soon as he just references the Bible. That is a red flag. Anything that has to do with the Bible, it seems like these niggas' spirit don't like it. Let me tell you something about the Bible. Let me tell you something I don't know about Vontoocut. I don't know if these niggas is agents or what. You know when they say that us melanated people are gods and the white man is the devil? First of all, the white man is the devil was something that was taught by Master Farad Muhammad, who was the teacher of Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad taught Minister Farrakhan. Y'all might have heard of Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Farad Muhammad was the first person in the 1930s to teach that the white man was the devil and to give that lesson to the black melanated people. They know it in the 5% nation and the nations of God and earth and so forth, right? That's where that this whole white people anti-spiritual shit is coming from, right? When we dealing with the Quran or dealing with the Bible or dealing with, let me go into something that Vontoocut, a lot of these spiritual YouTubers, the melanated YouTubers always say. They always talk about how we are gods. Us melanated people are gods, right? The thing is, when you read the Bible, and the Bible's main ideology is you have the Most High God, and the rest of the Elohim. So you have angels of the Lord. An angel is the messengers of the Lord, the sons of God, right? The sons and daughters of God. These people, Elohim, are gods, right? So when you dealing with the book, you have these people who are in the book who are what you would call gods, who are angels, who are above the normal humans. They fell, right? There's times where they fall, and they fall into chains of darkness, and they end up being born here, right? This got to do with sin, and this has to do with judgment and all type of low vibrational stuff. Let me tell you the problem with a lot of these spiritual melanated YouTubers. The first time that us melanated people in the Americas ever got knowledge came from Master Farad Muhammad. This is what I realized on my spiritual journey when I was 17 years old. When I was 17, after dealing with the angel numbers and the crystals and astral projection, what I ended up learning was I started moving towards the origin to a lot of this whole awakening amongst our people. It goes back to the 5% nation, whether you like it or not. It goes back to the black Muslim movement. It goes back to the Moorish Science Temple. What I found out, right, and this is what I see every time I see people like Vontoocut, and this is how I know that people like Vontoocut is going to end up falling short, is when I seen that young man, right, because the nigga like 17, when I seen him diss the Bible, I knew he was going to fall short, and I knew he was going to be left behind. Because you know what I ended up learning on my journey? All of this shit that they learned about us melanated people and how we fail and all this stuff about the white man and white people, it comes from the Bible. Not only does it come from the Bible, it comes from the Muslims, the black Muslims, and these people like Elijah Muhammad that you hear about in the 1900s. Now, compared to organized religion, right, I was shocked, of course, to learn that the things that was being taught by people like Spiritual Soul and Vontoocut come from the Bible and come from people who teach the Bible and knew the whole Bible like the back of their hand. Right? I started getting to things like the Hebrew Israelite movement. And bro, I'm telling you, it's amazing how many things that these spiritual melanated YouTubers say that parallels the people in the Hebrew Israelite movement, that parallels the Nation of Islam. So then you would think, wait a minute, so what is in these young men's spirit to be dissing the Bible, right? Wouldn't they eventually on their journey, just like me and a lot of other people, wouldn't they eventually get to a point to where they learn or figure out, hey, this stuff that I believe is in the Bible? No. Because you want to know the thing? The question is, what possessed Vontoocut to feel so bad about that book? What possessed Vontoocut and all these other people, right, to diss the Bible, a book that is talking about everything they taught us? So what I want to clarify to all these people, that my problem with Vontoocut is Vontoocut did not know the origin of what he was teaching. What he was saying about his white fans and what he turned his back on. No wonder he turned his back on it, because he was dissing and something in his spirit made him go against a book, a text, a prophecy, and all of these different things that was the exact same words that was coming out of his mouth that he found, which was the knowledge that turned him into Vontoocut to start that YouTube with in the channel. That YouTube channel with to begin with. And one would wonder, how does that happen? Why would all of these melanated YouTubers diss a book, right? And they never opened, never read, allegedly, right? They don't know what's in it, so we ain't gonna call them agents. What would cause them in their spirit to diss this book that contains and is the origin of all of the teachings that they ever taught us? Maybe there's an idea in the book that's bothering them that they never ever honed upon. The idea of a most high God. The idea that there is a person higher than Von. The idea that there's a person higher than all of the rest of us melanated people who are gods. If we are gods, then this one is the most high God. This man is the one above us. The idea of a Messiah, the idea of Mashiach, as the Muslims say, the Mahdi. That's what problems them about the book. The thing is, not only just that, it's the authority aspect of the book. The rules that come from the book. The fact that there's something telling them, if you ever fall short other than anything as a God / Elohim, your ass gonna pay for that shit. Your ass gonna be punished. So you can talk as much shit as you want about white people, right? But if you saying all this stuff about us people, and we's melanated people, you changing your diet and you doing right, if Vontoocut was to ever turn like he did in that life book, he was gonna pay for that shit. And that's what he didn't like. That's what all them spiritual niggas do not like. They don't like the fact that the book has penalties. Just like the nigga said soul contract. Nigga, there ain't no soul contract. This is all biblical. The book talking about us, right? As you can see with 2020, right? Von, this nigga is not taking things seriously. It's getting to a point to where if we really as melanated people is gods, we gonna have to start taking this shit seriously. Because there's a lot of people in fear, and there's a lot of people scared right now, and then people do not know what's going on. The sun is heating up. Things is going on at an astrological level. We going to have to start taking this seriously. If there is a book, or if there's a way for us to organize all of these things that we talking about, we gonna have to do it. We past meditating. We know about angel numbers. We know about synchronicities. We not babies. We done went through this shit. I went through that shit about 4 to 5 years ago. Right? I've read the whole Bible. It took me 2.5 years to read that motherfucking book. And I can tell you, my spiritual journey has not stopped. It's still going. The fact that he ended up rejecting and he cursed where he would have ended up growing and where he would have ended up growing to. He cursed a level that he would have reached that now he ain't never gonna reach. And what you gotta understand about Vontoocut and a lot of them people is they not getting where we going. This mentality he trying to put in people talking about shit don't matter is the mentality of people that work as baristas. People that work every day. Motherfuckers that drive trucks all day delivering Pepsi products to grocery stores. People that think like drones. People that think like bots. I will not revert to that mentality. I am a god. You will never see me working a job. You will never see me prioritizing money. He reached a level that he can't get to the next level because he cursed his progress, because he cursed the things and the people that involve his progress. And since that he was at a stagnant speed and he stopped moving, he's starting to feel like, well, why am I being vegan? Why am I meditating? Because when you stopped and you doing something and you can't move forward, you're going to feel like, what is the reason of me doing what I'm doing? And he going to revert and he going to start back eating pork. He going to start back eating meat, right? He going to start back fornicating. Bro, that boy going to start back doing so much stuff that y'all got to understand. Y'all going to have to leave this man behind. He talking about December 21st ain't real. Nigga, December 21st is real because he revealed a lot of shit about him.